So we're live on Instagram and Facebook. Hey, everybody. I want to introduce you to someone really special. This is Harmony. She is a professional expansion specialist. She's an energy healer. She's here to talk today about rising above trauma and how you can live your best life, unlock your full potential. And I'm super, super excited to introduce you to this super empowering woman. I'm not sure if my introduction did you justice, but please, Harmony, tell us more about yourself and the work that you do.
Thank you so much. I am absolutely so pleased to be here. And my Instagram peeps aren't usually used to see me on here. So this is my first time going live on Instagram. Hi, guys. So I am a professional expansion specialist based in clinical hypnotherapy and energy healing. And the whole reason that I came to this in the first place is I think, like anyone who works in this space, I really was raised in a background that was incredibly unhealthy. There was, a depressed, suicidal father and a mother who had extreme abuse and wasn't able to give me the love that I needed growing up. And she was abusive in her own awesome ways. And learning how to make sense of the reality that had been created for me, which in all reality, coming out of my household was one of being really insecure and having very low self-worth and not even being willing to really invest in the things that could have made me great because I didn't think that I was worthy. I didn't think I was worthy of a student loan. I didn't think I was worthy of any university accepting me. And so I know what it's like to come from a place where you don't even invest in yourself to get to where you could get to reach your full potential because you don't think that you're worth that investing or anyone even investing in you. And the way that it ended up working out was I ended up becoming a skin therapist because that felt like it was in reach. And I spent almost a decade in that industry. And I really ended up being surrounded by like-minded people who were really insecure and self-loathing and trying to fix whatever it was that they had lacking from an external source. Not that I'm saying that everyone that goes to spas is that way, but the repeat offenders were very much. They were trying to get me to fix something externally. And I felt this deep desire to try to make things better for them. But I was already myself very lacking and didn't have the answers to make my life better. So I wasn't in a position to help them. But I ended up kind of putting it out there to the universe. And I don't know if this has ever happened to any of you guys, when you kind of put a wish out there and you don't really move forward or invest in it, the universe has a way of kind of kicking your ass off the cliff. And that very much happened to me. I ended up in a major four-car accident. So I called my angel one day. It was October 18th, 2012. I said, I'll be home in 7 minutes. And I never made it home that night. So obviously I made it home eventually because I'm here. But I ended up with a severe concussion amongst other injuries. And I ended up on a path learning how to heal my physical body and how to communicate with my physical body and what its needs are. Because when I went to go see the doctor, they basically wrote me a bunch of prescriptions for the symptoms. And I ended up realizing that, when I asked them, can you help me heal this? They're just like, there's nothing that we can do. Even when I went and had a conversation with the neurologist, he's like, I'm going to be honest with you. We don't know a lot about concussions. And the only thing I can do is write you a first-gen antidepressant. And I'm like, wait, you're a specialist on the brain and you're telling me you can't give me any answers. And he's like, no, we don't know enough to actually heal this for you. So I'm like, you're basically just going to give me something that's going to numb my receptor sites then, so that my brain's just not receiving information and going into overload so that I end up in more pain. And he's like, yeah, pretty much. And I was like, cool. So 10 years did what for you? I don't want to be disrespectful, but this is not what I was expecting. So I ended up having to go on my own path to discover what it was that my brain was composed of and what the body uses to heal and all of these different things. And I ended up really shifting my awareness of health and wellness from a vanity perspective to more of a proactive health perspective. And I really, really became passionate about figuring out how to fuel myself with what my body needed to stay young in a very healthy way. And that's been one of my biggest passions ever since coming to that awareness. I ended up discovering collagen, optimizing glutathione, doing intermittent fasting, getting into ketogenesis, going into ketosis, which are two very different things, getting the body into autophagy, which helps heal. I just went on this whole tangent experimenting with all sorts of amazing things and arm myself with stuff now that aids me being able to slow down the aging process at 43 years old. This face is 43. So what I ended up doing after discovering what to do to help my physical body heal, which was incredibly beautiful and such a wonderful path, that actually put me in a place where then my brain started to heal enough that I was actually able to then focus on my internal healing journey and to heal from my childhood trauma and work on my self love and all of the rest of that beautiful stuff. And I ended up realizing that the traditional model didn't work for me because I had another crisis hit my doorstep, and that was we got a phone call in February 2016, the 6th to be exact, and my father had tried to end his life and ended up in the hospital. And within 5 minutes of that phone call, we also received a phone call about my man Scott's dad, who was in the hospital in Toronto with liver cancer. And both of us looked at each other and were like, you can't make this up. Like, how is this even happening right now? So I had to go to a hospital in Vancouver to kind of rat on my dad and have him assessed and put into a facility where he could be looked after. And then we went and flew to Toronto to look after Scott's dad and to go see what was going on with him. And all of that just kind of put me in a place where I felt really fragile psychologically. And I ended up having a phone call in Toronto Hospital with somebody who kind of, helps you in those like 1-800 lines or whatever. And I paced the halls for 3 hours talking to someone, and they said, I'm going to set you up with somebody when you get back home to Vancouver. And one of the things that wasn't being honored when I tried to go the traditional model of somebody who's just going to diagnose me and follow a protocol, I was having an existential crisis as a result of my father choosing to try to exit the planet. And I was raised very, very Christian, and something that he said and did kind of ripped me out of the belief system that I was born and raised in. So I needed something that was going to help me rediscover myself at the same time. And so I went on this path that was kind of outside of the traditional trodden path. And I ended up discovering a clinical hypnotherapist in a meditation circle. And she did a hypnosis. And I'm going to tell you, walking into that hypnosis, I felt powerless. I didn't know how anything was going to be okay. And I felt lost. And then I came out of the hypnosis, and I don't know how long I was in for it. I don't even remember what was said, but I came out knowing everything was going to be okay. How? I didn't know, but I knew I had the power to make everything okay. And it completely changed my whole reality because I knew that something had been switched in my subconscious mind that my conscious mind wasn't even aware of, that somehow made everything okay. And that tweaked me to the fact that we have a power within us that we're not tapping into. And I'm the kind of a person, when I discover something like that, I need to become the thing, not just learn the thing. So I studied clinical hypnotherapy to become a hypnotherapist so that I could really learn how to master the relationship with my subconscious mind. And then as I was working with clients, I had a particular experience with a young woman who was in her 20s, and there was some trauma that was surfaced, and I felt it in my own solar plexus as though it was mine. But I knew it was foreign, and I didn't know how to help remove it. And it made me feel so powerless in the moment that I needed to go figure out how to support my clients engaging energetically so that they could release what was no longer serving them. And that was what created the hunger to re-engage energetically. So I ended up certifying in multiple energy healing modalities to help me to be able to receive and to engage, to hold space for my clients to do the work, which I want to make very clear. The healer is not doing the work. The client is doing the work. The healer is holding space for the client to do the work. And I absolutely feel so blessed to have been able to expand to that place where I truly understand how the work is done and how we synergistically support each other. So I started doing the symptomatic work in the beginning. People would come to me and they would have specific pain points, but I ended up realizing really quickly when I would help them resolve that pain point, they would come to me really quickly afterwards with something new, because I actually wasn't resolving the core issue, which happened back when they were 5 years old. So that was when I ended up actually creating a program that supported my clients holistically, walking through every aspect of their lives and getting resolution on the core issues and the core programs and everything from when they were a child, which can root all the way from the womb, believe it or not. We create programs in the womb. Um, so I've been working that program since about 2015, now 2022, 7 years. Oh my gosh. And I feel so incredibly blessed to be able to support my clients really creating an unconditionally loving relationship with themselves, learning how to create a harmonious relationship with their mind and body, and knowing when to tap internally into wisdom and knowledge that they can seek, and knowing when to seek something from an external source. Which is something incredibly powerful to learn because we're taught to do that from the time we're born to look externally. But there is so much that we can look within to get answers for. And when you learn how to do that, it can just be life altering. And when you have that unconditionally loving relationship with yourself, you can just say yes to all inspiration and step into your power and do whatever it is that you're meant to do because you know you're worth investing in to create whatever it is that you want to create. And you're worth others investing in you to create something successful. You can say yes to others helping you, which so many women struggle with. So that's pretty much the synopsis, I guess, of my life story and how I ended up really getting to a place where I like to say I'm flooding this earth with love.
Wow, I love that. So, so powerful. And so many people have similar stories. Like I feel like I didn't become a hypnotherapist, that's for sure. But, you know, growing up, not feeling that worthiness, not believing in yourself. I wasn't going to become a nurse. I was like, oh, I'm just going to do something easy. I don't think I'm smart enough. And I had to borrow belief from my mother, who was like, no, you should be a nurse. And it's so interesting. There's so many things that happen in our lives, so many trauma. And I truly believe probably there isn't one person listening here that hasn't had trauma or multiple amounts of trauma. And that trauma can really sink us. It can really change our lives. It can destroy our lives. It can end our lives. And it's just so powerful to know that you can do things to help yourself and you can tap into your own energy. You can reach out for help to someone like Harmony that can help you get through what you're going through, learn what you need to learn, and then like unleash your actual potential for true happiness and whatever you're meant to do. Because trauma, if it's not, you know, dealt with in the way that is healthy to us, sometimes we, have negative coping mechanisms. We'll drink, do drugs, overeat, just not take care of ourselves and just feel like we're kind of feeling better, but we're not dealing with it. And then it just is this vicious cycle that goes nowhere and that trauma is still hurting you, right? So
Yeah.
it's really awesome that you're speaking on all the self-care stuff, like taking care of yourself, the nutrition, the energy work, even talking to someone probably is also very powerful because that's a big part of what people do when they work with you, I'm guessing. I've never had with you yet. I would be excited to do that. But yeah, that program sounds absolutely amazing. I'm going to get her to link her information in the descriptions of the lives and the YouTube. So you guys can reach out to her, reach out to her on social media. And yeah, I'd love to hear more about your program and some different tips you might have for people who are working through something challenging right now.
Yeah, and I know particularly with your audience, and I want to honor that more than anything else. The first thing that my clients do when they work with me is they optimize their physical health. Because when you have your health, you can wish for many things, but when you don't have your health, you wish for one thing, right? And I say this over and over again to my audience when I'm in my lives and I'm doing whatever I'm doing. I do a lot of live workouts on my TikTok channel, and I do it because I want to inspire people to focus on their physical health, optimizing their physical bodies. I'm sitting with a 2-pack at 43 years old, and I never thought I'd have one in my whole entire life. This is a new thing. And my gun show is legit. And it's unbelievable when you really learn how to self communicate, to optimize your health based on you. Because you and I, particularly being white women, our physiology is going to be very similar, but the human species, their physiology is quite similar. That being said, what our needs are, where we're born, our lineage, and our location, and all the rest of that kind of stuff very much dictates what it is that we uniquely need. And of course, there are people that have intolerances and allergies and all sorts of different things, and miasms, and all sorts of amazing things that need to be looked at to support your unique blueprint and what you need to thrive. And you also have a different capacity based on how stressed you are in life and how much you're being packed. How many children are you raising? How many hours are you commuting? How stressful is your job? Because your ability to actually be able to absorb nutrients has everything to do with your body's capacity. If you're in fight or flight, you're not going to be absorbing nutrients very well. So you can go and take hundreds of dollars a month worth of nutrients, and it's just going straight through your body, sadly. So you're wasting your money. And it's good to know that, first of all, the nutrients that you're putting in your body is a 10 out of 10 for you, because what might be a 10 out of 10 for somebody else is a 2 out of 10 for you, right? So somebody else might say, you need this, but it actually turns out it's great for them, but it's going to do nothing for you. And then your ability to actually methylate and process and absorb the nutrients that you're taking means everything. So it's incredibly important to create that physical healthy body and that communication with your physicality, that beautiful vessel that you've been blessed with in this life, so that you can go through the rest of my program full of energy and vitality and ferocity and a mind that's working beautifully, so you can really invest in yourself being your best self physically. So that's number one, first and foremost. Number two is creating an unconditionally loving relationship with yourself, which is a lifelong journey for two reasons. One, it takes the rest of your life to expand on really all aspects of self love, because there's some aspects where you might feel really confident in yourself. And then there's going to be other aspects where you might feel that when you step up into that arena, you're feeling weak. And that's where you want to focus. And that changes throughout your whole life. So spend the rest of your life expanding on the awesomeness that is you. And then we have to look at the fact that we're human beings and we keep changing and things sag and droop and all of that kind of stuff. So we need to keep recommitting to the self-love journey, right? Next is looking at all relationships outside of you. So your familial relationships, your career or your job or your business, your romantic relationships, and so on, your friendships. So looking at how to create a healthy love arena so that you can actually have healthy relationships in every aspect of your life. Then we go into sexuality, because really, I think women more than anything else, but I respect you gods as well, need to reclaim our sexuality. It's been taken from us for so many generations, and it is time to reclaim that, because I firmly believe in the work that I've been doing as long as I have, that our power is in our sexuality. So if we're really going to stand in our power, we need to reclaim that and create a beautiful sexual relationship with ourselves. You're going to be a lot more physically healthy if you do as well. That is a puzzle piece. And also with your partner as well, or whoever it is that you choose to engage with, partners, I'm not here to judge, right? We can do whatever is right for us, provided that we are guided by love and respect and consent. So then we get into spirituality and tapping into the all you can eat buffet to this spirituality, and tapping into the powerful divine being that you are, what your divine design is, why you're here on this planet. I think everyone asks themselves that question. I can help you get that answer. It's pretty darn easy, believe it or not. Once you understand how. And then once we walk through all of that, then we actually get into creating a life plan that is based on your divine design, not based on you being a performing monkey for everybody else who's trying to dictate what your life should look like, right? That's a totally different life plan. I mean, if you ask your family and your friends and your boss, and they'll give you a life plan, but it's not necessarily in your best interest. So this is projecting yourself forward as many years as you want to. You can go 5 years, you can go 10 years. I always let my clients dictate what feels right for them. And then we walk through all aspects of life, working on self and internal first, and then going into the material world, so that it's very, very holistic, but very much putting the priority on you and expanding your emotional health, your psychological health, your physical health, all of those things that a lot of people actually aren't even going to notice. Right. I don't know how many people are going to be like, oh my God, you've been totally working on your emotional self for real. Get it. Like, it just doesn't happen very often. But it actually makes such a monumental difference in our lives, because if we are emotionally chaotic, if we're a drama queen, if we are unstable or any of that kind of stuff, if we learn how to deal with our emotions and become significantly more stable, all of our relationships are going to thrive, right? So they might not necessarily say anything in the onset, but they are going to be significantly happier because you're significantly more stable and emotionally mature. So there's 7 different sections to the program. And I want to really get clear as well for you guys that at the very beginning of this, I set you up teaching you how to self communicate, how to listen to your own internal dialogue, how to communicate with your subconscious mind and your body, all aspects of yourself, also tapping into the unseen and communicating with all aspects of that as well. And then over the duration that we're working together, you learn how to trust the information that you're getting and action on it. Because it's one thing to get information, but how many times do people get messages going, I should probably grab my jacket. I'm getting a message. It's warm outside. I don't need my jacket. And they leave. And then something happens and it pours. And they're like, you should have done that, right? Your intuition is always right. So just listen, say yes, and go, right? So it's important to have that time when you have somebody that's an unconditionally loving cheerleader that can hold space for you to develop that self communication. So by the time you graduate, you are fully confident and in your power and actioning on every piece of knowledge that you source inside, outside, your intuition, whatever it is.
That's like amazing. Like 7-piece program. That sounds incredible because it's not just one thing we can focus on to be our best. It's very complicated. There's a lot of pieces to the puzzle. It's so, so true. And I love how you bring up fight or flight. I think a lot of people are just living in that space. They're just like, it's chaos, it's stress. And then it's interesting because some people, they're so used to being there that they don't realize that it's making them miserable. They don't have enough time to just rest and relax. And then often we don't put enough love into ourselves, and we have all these goals and we've got all these pressures. Oh, I got to do this. I got to lose weight. I got to this, that, and the other thing. And we're aging. And like you said, we've got to keep recommitting to loving ourselves because we are changing. My girlfriend yesterday was like, oh my God, I've got all these extra new wrinkles. And I'm like, yeah, that's, I guess, part of, getting older. It's supposed to be part of it. And just recommitting to that self-love. I love that. I love hearing that. That's so cool. But that's the thing, like you're saying, you don't absorb your nutrients very well if you're in fight or flight. And then when you're having that fight or flight, even if it's once in a while, if it's part of your, relationships at home, at work, or your relationship with yourself, and you're just kind of stressed all the time. If you have, health goals, that's sabotaging that. Like she said, the nutrition. There's that cortisol, that's a stress hormone that's in your body. It causes inflammation. It's so unhealthy. It can affect your sleep. You're not having good sleep. It's affecting your organs. If you're trying to lose weight, fat loss, your body's stressed. Your body thinks you need to protect itself and it stores things.
Yep.
So working on your emotional health, your mental health, and trauma, all that is so key to everything. Because sometimes we kind of just like sweep it under the rug and we're like, oh, I don't need to think about it. Like that happened. Don't think about it. Move on. It's not going to affect me. But it will keep resurfacing, I believe, until you learn. And sometimes we, unfortunately, go through the same similar traumas few times. I've probably had that in my life. I've had a few not so fun experiences, but yeah, it's really awesome that you're in this space of work where you help people overcome and rise above it, because that's the thing. We're all going through something, and opposite of rising above it, you could just drown in it, right? And yeah, so
Yeah,
And so,
talking about what you were talking about specifically is really important to really look at because all the relationships that we have, the situations that we create, I just want to say that again. We are creating, right? We create our reality because we are a certain vibration and like attracts like. So we're bringing in things that are a vibrational match for us based on our subconscious programming, right? And so what we need to understand, first of all, is that our subconscious mind is actually our best friend. Even though at times the internal dialogue seems to be an absolute nightmare and we just want it to shut up, I know there are some people that do not feel like they're best friends with their brain and they just want it to stop, right? But what is actually repeating like a broken record is stuff that is repeating because it's trying to get you to pay attention to it, to flip it, because it's not serving you. And the people that you're bringing into your world that seem to be, douchebags and not very good people, those people are coming into your life to actually mirror programs that need to be cleared, to bring up trauma that needs to be released. And the situations are the same thing. They're showing you what is no longer serving you. Your subconscious mind is going, hey, girl, you want to do this thing over here? Well, this thing that I'm putting in front of you is a thing you need to clear if you want to go that way, right? And if we can actually see that our subconscious mind actually knows the program, it knows what we're supposed to be doing in this life, and that it's on board with the healing process, whether we're on board with it or not, which is why it keeps bringing this stuff to us. We can actually go, okay, wait, hold on a second. So this situation that's driving me nuts and is making me miserable, this is me helping me. Oh, okay, hold on. So let me just stop name calling because that's the thing we do, and realize that that person that's being undesirable and is doing things that we don't enjoy is actually our perfect button pusher. And when we realize that they're a perfect button pusher and they're surfacing stuff that we need to release to help us heal, the only response that we should have to that person is thank you. That's it. Thank you. And then we go and we deal with what we need to deal with. And then we assess as to whether that person should stay in our life or whether they were just serving the purpose of surfacing trauma. And maybe they're not good to us and they are actually to our detriment. So we always need to be asking ourselves when we are hit with a button pusher that is surfacing trauma, there are two questions I tell my clients to ask. How do I respond, not react from a place of self love to that button pusher? And two, what do I do from a place of self love that's right for me? Right? So if this person is to your detriment, wish them healing and send them love and send them packing. If there's somebody that you love and they're not to your detriment, but they are pushing buttons, then you keep them in their life. And then you go back to that person and go, when you did this thing, I felt this, and now I've actually cleared through it. And I just want to let you know, not so that you don't do that again. Because a lot of people, when they get triggered, they'll go back to the person and then dictate to the person how to behave so that they don't trigger them again. You're taking the person's free agency doing that. That's super no bueno. What you need to do is take responsibility for your emotion and then go back to the person and let them know what happened, but you're not asking them to behave in any particular way. You're just explaining to them what came up for you and apologizing if you had a reaction in any way, which many people tend to, obviously. But we always need to be so mindful of giving people their free agency and not dictating people's behavior or making them censor themselves or do anything to meet our approval or to tiptoe around us because we're volatile. That's just completely, like, totally inappropriate. So keep in mind that and just know that your mind is your best friend and it is here to help you heal. And anyone who surfaces any emotion isn't doing it to make your life miserable most of the time. It's not personal. It was completely unintentional. And all of the emotions that we have are ours. We need to own them. We need to be responsible for them. And we need to see them, own them, learn from them, process from them, and expand into the person that we're meant to be in this life.
that's so beautiful. I love that. Yeah, responding over reacting, right? That's easier said than done. So it's a
Oh, yeah.
process. I think a lot of us, we hear some different things over the years and we're like, okay, I'm working on that. But it takes time, and having support and a awesome person like Harmony on your side, that's going to help for sure. But yeah, that's takes time. We got to be gracious on ourselves and love
Yes.
ourselves in our process of healing and getting through the shit we're getting through. And yeah, it's interesting. When you said about the people that are triggering you, I was thinking my mom always said a reason, a season, or a lifetime. That's what people are here for. And it's hard because sometimes there is people in our lives that aren't serving us and aren't helping us through certain ways. Some people aren't that nice, but I think most people are helping us learn something, whether we know that or not. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and I do love that you brought up how important it is to be gentle on yourself when maybe you do react in a particular way. We're all human and we're on the path doing the best that we can. So, absolutely, please be so gentle on yourself if you make mistakes and don't use it as an excuse to give up or anything like that. Even if you skip a week working out, don't stop working out. Sometimes a week off is actually good and your body did some healing. We always want to keep in mind how incredibly important the downtime is, the reparative time, the healing time, right? So, absolutely, always, always be gentle on yourself and know that you are perfectly imperfect. It's my hacker's way of saying a perfectionist.
love that. Perfectly imperfect. That's amazing. Awesome. So, yeah, I'm not sure if there's a couple extra things you want to talk about, but I wanted to tell everybody about your competition that you're doing because I think you're fabulous. And the fact that you're 43 is like, I'm like, are you sure? Like, so that's pretty fabulous. But yeah, I'd love for people to vote for you.
Thank
And
you so much. I really appreciate this so much. Um, I absolutely was inspired by a girlfriend of mine that I know that's actually in her 60s that decided to join the competition. Just after I came back from vacation, I saw this and then was like, are they still accepting people? Because my aunt passed away of breast cancer, and when I found out that this was supported by a national foundation that isn't about necessarily the research side of things, because I absolutely do believe that there is resolution to be found for these different health issues. That being said, what is being focused on here, the founder of this foundation actually was diagnosed with breast cancer herself. And she didn't know where to look for research and she didn't know where to look for help. And so she created this foundation all by herself with a small little group, and it became international. And now they are supporting and helping and educating women who are diagnosed with breast cancer. So this is something that I'm incredibly passionate about because I did lose my aunt to this. And the fact that there's a woman heading this that has been through it herself, that's empowering and supporting women who go through this, it fuels me. It really, really does. To know that there's someone you can turn to get financial support, to get education, and to find a tribe to get help, because it's got to feel so incredibly lonely and devastating, especially for the women who have to, go through a mastectomy. I mean, I'm just going to say I identify with my breasts a lot. Like if I had them taken from me, I'd have a minute. No, I'd have more than a minute. You know what I mean? So I'm so incredibly passionate about this. So this is absolutely something that there's no two ways about it. I would love to win this and get the exposure for my company because I'm here to flood the earth with love. And the more people that know about me and can help me get the word out about my teachings, the better, obviously. However, this foundation is incredibly close to my heart as well. So I am putting it out there not just for votes, but also for donations, because I want to see women warriors that are having to go through breast cancer get the much needed support that they need. I don't know if you guys know, but the medical system does not support you when you're diagnosed with this disease. You got to pay out of your own pocket. So to have a place that you can turn to where you can receive some support if you're sideswiped by this is absolutely massive. So just to let you know, there's a couple of different ways that you can support me with this. One is free votes every 24 hours. If you feel that this is a worthy cause, if you feel that I'm a good representation of this and I'm fabulous over 40, and you want to see me win this, then set an alarm on your phone every 24 hours and vote for me until December 15th when the winner is announced, The other way that you can do this is you can actually donate. They call it Hope Vote. And it's up to you how much you donate. And it's usually dollar for dollar. However, today it's 2 for 1. So if you spend $1, it's actually worth 2 votes, which is incredible. And obviously, this is a tax write off when you donate to foundations. So keep that in mind. And keep in mind that this is probably one of the best foundations that you can put your money into to support women who have to go through this. I like to call them women warriors.
Yeah, everybody go vote for her. I'm going to go vote for you right when we're done this. So we'll link everything in the comments. And yeah, it's really important for people to know that. Like, I'm a nurse, but I actually thought for some reason, I just thought that the medical system paid for all the treatments that people need for cancer. And it was on the news actually last week. And I was mind blown about people saying, like, the medications are so expensive and I don't have coverage, and it can be thousands and thousands of dollars and really set people back. And there's a lot of people suffering with cancer right now. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's a
I have
lot.
a friend who personally was in $300,000 for the type of cancer that he suffered from. And thank goodness he had the money to pay out. But if he hadn't, he wouldn't be with us today. So it's incredible,
Wow, that's a lot of money,
right?
right? And to have to decide or, get donations or
Do a
thank goodness.
GoFundMe or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, thank
absolutely.
goodness
It's
you guys
massive. I think we just assume in Canada that universal health care means that everything is covered. This is not true. Absolutely go do your research so you're armed with whatever it is that you end up, being hit with, that you know that you're covered, whether it's through insurance or whatever it is that you need. But definitely, you don't want to get sideswiped with something and be lost not knowing what you're going to do and what you're covered for sure.
And I've been learning recently a lot about critical illness coverage. I think a lot of us don't have that
Yes, I
really as
do.
good as we do. Yeah. So yeah, make sure you're covered. Work on yourself. Link arms with Harmony. She's gonna post her socials below too, so you can follow her. She's got lots of tips and tricks. And too bad we didn't do this live on TikTok because I'm like, oh, I gotta go check out your TikTok. What is your TikTok?
It's just Harmony Woodington.
Oh, easy peasy. Awesome. Well,
Yeah, I
thanks so
made
much
life
for
easy by having all my social media be my name.
yeah, that's easy. Thanks so much for your time. I'd love to chat with you again. I'm going to see if anyone has, you know, something that they have on their heart to ask you. They can message you directly on all of the platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. She'll put her information below, but maybe we could do this again and talk about something on the lines of trauma and your tips and your program. I think that'd be super powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. I also, just so you know, behind me, I've got a book there. It's called Create a Healthy Romantic Relationship. You can find that on Amazon. And I'm also co authoring a book that's going to be released called The Ultimate Guide to Overcome Anxiety. And what's really beautiful about that is it's being co authored by an amazing man who focuses on the physiological. And he specifically focuses on women that suffer from all sorts of physical issues due to copper IUDs, which is really, really amazing. So he's got a phenomenal amount of wisdom and knowledge. So him and I are going to be looking to go out there and be interviewed by everybody we can think of, because anxiety, I think, is the biggest epidemic that we have going on since the pandemic. Because so many people were isolated, unfortunately, and it just sent people's mental health issues through the roof. And so I think we really need to be doing everything that we can to create a tribe to support each other and to let people know that there's answers and support for mental health issues and stuff like that. So I am absolutely a warrior on that front for sure, and honor how much the energetic work has to be done, the work on the mind has to be done, but also the physiological has to be honored. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you're hypoglycemic, you can have anxiety just from that. Crazy. I learned that in hypnotherapy school. So it's amazing how just your blood sugar, being affected can create anxiety. It's just phenomenal. So it's so important to understand how mineral imbalances and physiological imbalances can really impact our mental state. And if we create a holistic awareness of all of the different things that we need to do to support ourselves, and we one at a time tackle those things, right? Because I'm not trying to make my clients tackle everything all at once. We systematically go through the program. I mean, if I could snap my fingers for everybody and just make it good all in one, it'd be great. But humans need to learn slowly. So it's one thing at a time. And with each day, you learn more. With each day, you get better. With each day, you get stronger. With each day, you develop more self love, right? So just be focused on the expansion path, and you'll always be going in the right direction.
That's amazing. Yeah, please link your book below for the Amazon link, and I can't wait for your next one. That's a very needed topic for sure. Anxiety is so high in so many people, and I feel like we're at the tail end of the pandemic, but still, like we're kind of stuck in it. A lot of people are stuck in that chronic feeling of fear and stress, and there's a lot that can be done. So that's great to know that it's not going to be how you're going to be forever, right? You can work on it, you can get through it, you can rise above it and be your happiest, healthiest self.
Yes, and thank you so much for being a warrior yourself, for helping people to learn more about how to create a healthier physical vessel. What you're doing is incredible as well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's great to have this awesome, happy, healing community helping woman warriors. Like you said, I love that.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And I'll definitely make sure that I provide all the links for you guys as well. So if you have any questions, I also do a free soul connection. So you're welcome to book a call with me just to explore the work that I do for there if you have any questions.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to hold space for my story.
Yeah, thanks for sharing it. And then we'll say goodbye to everyone for now, and we'll see you all again.
Bye.
Bye.